Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a review of a thriller from Argentina, Spanish language English subs, released in the year 2013, directed by Patsy Amezcua, and this movie is called Septimo. The English title is Seventh Floor, but yeah, for this purpose I'll be calling it Septimo. So the story of Septimo, aka Seventh Floor, you've got this rich lawyer who is divorced from his wife. They have two children together, and on this particular day the father is looking after the kids. So they live right on the top floor of this apartment complex, and they like to play a game. Basically, the father gets inside the elevator and the kids run down the stairs, and whoever gets to the lobby in first will win the race. So this game is not appreciated by the wife. She feels that this is a very dangerous game, but the father, he's a kind of a cool father, and he likes to make his kids happy. So this is what they want to do, and he says, okay, one last time, you know your mother doesn't like this, but on this case I'll let it slide. So he gets in the elevator, he gets down to the lobby, realises that no one's there, so he starts to suspect that the kids are either very slow or they're just playing hide and seek. So he yells out to them, there's no response, and quickly, fun and games turns to panic when he realises that maybe they've been kidnapped, because no one in the apartment complex has seen them. So he alerts his wife, the wife is hysterical, he alerts the authorities, and this is where the investigation takes place that uncovers a mystery that implicates a lot of people. So that's all I'm going to give you on the synopsis. If you want to know more, please go out there and see this film for yourself. Now my thoughts on Septimo, aka Seventh Floor. I was bitterly disappointed with this movie. Now I'm not saying that this is a terrible film, but the reason why I'm so disappointed is that the second half of the movie destroys all the great things the first half had going for it. The first half of the movie set in this beautiful apartment complex that is perfect for a horror or thriller, suspense sort of mystery film. It has a strong level of Alfred Hitchcock suspense. You sense that these kids have vanished out of nowhere. You don't know how they've vanished, so you sense that maybe they've been taken by one of the tenants. But then, as Ricardo Darin's character, who plays the main character, he's going from door to door, he's asking frantically if they've seen his kids, but they say no. But you don't know if they're telling the truth. So it's that level of unpredictability that made Alfred Hitchcock so good, in that it's stuff that you can't really see. It's the overall impending sense of doom, the mistrust. Who can you trust? Who's telling the truth? All these characters have something going for them that you might suspect they are guilty of kidnapping these kids, but you don't know for sure, because when Ricardo Darin starts to spiral downhill in panic, you don't know if he's over-exaggerating, he's overreacting to a certain person, or if that person has a hidden motive. So it's just that really strong sense of unpredictability. The acting was great. Ricardo Darin and Belen Ruda, who plays the mother, she's a fantastic Spanish actress. I thought their chemistry worked very well. You sense that they once loved each other, but for reasons I'm not going to get into, you'll have to watch the movie to find out, they had split up. And you sense that they are genuine parents. You don't feel like these are actors playing the parents of child actors. You actually feel like this was a real family, and you can sense that the panic in them was authentic. So you want them to find their kids, because it feels like they had that real chemistry going for it. So it had the grounds to be an absolutely brilliant film, but unfortunately in the second half of the movie, when there's a twist, and I will say that there's a really good twist, I didn't see it coming, but as soon as that twist hits you, it rapidly goes downhill, and it felt like the director used up all of his cards and he didn't know how to finish the movie. So the second half of the movie takes a completely different approach to the first half. It goes out of the apartment complex, which was the first big mistake. I thought the apartment complex would have been so good to have the whole film set in this setting, but then when it goes outside the apartment complex, it feels like it's a completely different film, and it just runs out of ideas very, very quickly. It actually feels like a movie that had 60 minutes of really good material, but then the director wasn't allowed to finish it then, and he was obligated to take it to 90 minutes, and so it was basically half an hour of filler, and it didn't feel like finishing a movie. It felt like the middle stage of a really long movie, in that when you've got really, really long movies, there's always that period in the middle of the film where it just drags. But in this movie, when it really should have been kicking into gear and going to really good levels, it meanders, and it actually feels like it's just filler, and it just feels like it's just rapidly just fizzing out. And it makes it a really forgettable experience, because the first half, it was brilliant. It was really, really well done. And in the second half, as I said, it felt like the middle section of a really long film, where you just feel like it's just wasting time to get to the good parts. But in this movie, it does it at the worst possible time, and it completely derails everything that the first half had going for it. I thought it was a very predictable way that it finished, and that just completely contradicted everything that the first half of Septimo had going for it. So I was bitterly disappointed with Septimo. It was a movie that didn't realise how good it could have been, and that was unfortunate because it could have been a masterpiece, but in the end what it is just an average film that you'll forget about in a few days' time. So overall, for Septimo, going to give it 2.5 stars. 2.5 because the first half was so good, but in the second half, it just completely destroyed itself. It shot itself in the foot, didn't know how good it could have been, and as a result of that, yeah, I'm not going to recommend it because, recommending a film for just one half is a little bit, dodgy. So, yeah, who knows, you might appreciate the second half a lot more than I did, but the first half really outshines the second, and that was a great disappointment because if it finished well, it could have been a masterpiece, but unfortunately, it's not. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you there.